the speakers. I call Claire Curran.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to take a short call on the first reading of the Objectionable Publications and Indecency legislation bill. Labor is supporting this bill to the Select Committee, and we're supporting it to the Select Committee because it has an important purpose, and because we need to know what the submissions are, and we need to have a good discussion around this issue, which is to do with attempting to stop the spread and use of indecent material and child pornography. And I don't think anybody could ever argue against that, and ever would. The bigger question, and there are a number of bigger questions which I know that my colleagues have posed tonight, is that where does this fit within a wider strategy? Now, a wider and coherent justice strategy, but also a wider strategy around harmful behaviours and harmful behaviours in the digital environment. And the big question that I want to put to the House tonight with regards to this bill is the absolute importance, and I do hope that the members on the other side are listening, is the absolute importance of the meshing of those things, that there is consistency. And one of the big problems, or the big issues I think that's been raised around this piece of legislation, which has just dropped upon us, is its reactiveness and the potential for it being a knee-jerk response in isolation to a wider strategic response. And well, you know, Minister, there is plenty of other things that could be being done at the same time that actually give the sense to the community that the government is actually providing a wide, coherent, thoughtful, consultative response to the community around some of the behaviours that have been so concerning in our community. And those behaviours are concerning in the online environment and in the physical environment. But the important thing is that the responses, the legislative responses, have consistency across both those environments and are well thought through, and that are not reactive and are not knee-jerk. And that is why the discussion around that is so important. And the conversations that I have had, which may be of interest to those who are shaking their heads and muttering on the other side of the House, from reputable organisations that have been doing ongoing thinking in this area and have not necessarily felt listened to, are very important. And I certainly, my big message to the government on this issue is that they listen, that they don't just react in a way which appears to be because it's the latest thing and therefore they have to be seen to be doing something, but that they do take a longer term a consultative approach to any moves in this area, and that they do widely consult and actively listen. Unfortunately, neither of those things are known, that this government is not known for doing. The big questions, there are big questions in this space, Mr. Speaker, about enforcement, because there aren't enough enforcement resources in this space to do anything like a thorough job. It's true of New Zealand, it's also true of other countries, and that should be acknowledged. And if we're talking about the internet as the environment, that it's a very difficult place to police using traditional enforcement techniques. And so one of the big questions that needs to be looked at in the discussion at the Select Committee on this legislation is whether agencies like the police and like the Department of Internal Affairs really have the resources to enforce these regulations online. And I'd like to leave it with that question, because I think certainly that the appearance of being seen to do something and the actuality of doing something and then backing it up with enough resources is critical in this whole debate, and I look forward to that discussion in the Select Committee.
Members, this debate is concluded. The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those of that opinion will say aye. Aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it.
Objectionable Publications and Indecency Legislation Bill, first reading.
The question is that the Objectionable Publications and Indecency Legislation Bill be considered by the Justice and Electoral Committee. Those of that opinion will say aye. Aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. Members, the business on the urgency motion is completed. Therefore, the House stands adjourned until 2 p.m. on Tuesday, 3 December 2013. Good evening, members, and a safe adjournment.